thanks first of all for the opportunity to share some of our experiences from Hello Customer. Maybe just for everyone, quickly introducing myself. So I'm one of the co-founders and also the CEO of Hello Customer. We've been around since 5 years. Hello Customer is not a consultancy firm or a technology company, and it's basically we capture feedback from customers throughout a customer journey after they've had an interaction. It's not long lists of questions. It's mainly focused on open feedback, bringing that together with operational data from the company, which enables us to, in real time and continuously, offer feedback or insights to the company about how customers perceive that interaction. Whether it is the online purchase, whether it is buying something in a store, whether it's even having a mortgage conversation. In those 5 years, we've been working mainly for retail, banking, telco, utilities, so mainly B2C companies that have lots of customers, lots of customer interactions, and often very complicated customer journeys. And how we tend to work for us, it's about, first of all, listening to customers. And listening for us really means trying not to guide the customer in his thinking with lots of questions, but purely open feedback. Understanding their experience, so our AI technology is able to, in real time, pick apart every feedback and get all of the arguments that a customer is giving out of it. Engaging with them, so making sure that you close the loop with those customers. Engage employees, because we all know that without motivated employees to do well for customers, nothing's going to happen anyway. And then, of course, lastly, it's about taking action. Now, this is, of course, highly theoretical. We've been doing this for 5 years for over 100 customers or 100 organizations so far. And the one thing that we find in working together with CX professionals who are working in these large organizations is that they struggle very heavily with proving the return on investment on customer experience. And by not being able to prove return on investment, it's often difficult to get budgets to do certain customer experience projects or investments that they require from their management. So one of the things that we've been focusing on in the past 2 years is to kind of demystify customer experience for management levels of organizations. And to me, it's more about, and I'm a linguist by background, so to me, it's about if you're talking to an Italian person and if you speak Italian, then they will understand. So for us, it was more about we need to be able to translate customer experience into something tangible for a marketing director, for a retail director, for an operations manager, even for a CEO or for the board of the company. And so if you want to calculate return on investment, and like Jonathan said, it's either you reduce costs, that's a very big return that you can get, or it's either you increase your revenues. But we need to then kind of reverse engineer in order to find those cost reductions and or to link it back to cost reduction or to revenue increase. And so we've been working quite heavily with some of our bigger customers on creating a framework that links customer experience more to business practice and to more the language that management teams are speaking. And I don't know, and I would be really interested to learn whether some of you or if any of you has learned about the service profit chain. We can discuss later on when we go into discussion mode. Service profit chain was coined by a few professors at Harvard Business School. There's also a very nice article about it on the Harvard Business Review, and it basically means that if you look at customer satisfaction, customer loyalty, it's actually a big internal chain, a compounding effect of things that you do right in an organization. And it's basically, in theory, you need to have solid, good internal processes and tools so that employees can do their job well, so that they can produce the right products or they can deliver the right services, which leads to customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. If employees have the feeling that they have the tools and they have everything to do their job well, they will feel valuable and they will also feel a lot more motivated to do so. So if each and every one of these steps in this customer service profit chain is done well, then eventually that will lead to bigger customer satisfaction, customer loyalty, and ultimately revenue. So for us, also in working together with our clients, for us, customer experience is not so much the goal, as well it's the result of things done well in a company. Now, if we take, for example, a customer service center, if you look at the internal processes, if, for example, a customer service center is not staffed right and there's long waiting lines, then you will get frustrated people on the line, which makes it very difficult for customer service agents to do their job right, because it's very demotivating to every time get someone on the line that's been on the line waiting for 20 minutes, then having you on the phone. And so it creates this kind of vicious circle, a downward spiral, so to speak. So customer experience there is not even about, creating better experience for the customer. It's about fixing that process that leads to these long waiting lines. So it's about, okay, we need to be able to well, first of all, make sure to understand why so many people are calling. What are the reasons behind it? What is the problems that we need to get solved maybe more proactively so that they don't have to contact customer service? And then also, okay, are we staffed right so that we can maybe add more people to the customer service center? So it's more about having view on these processes, how they work, and how everything ties in together so that the eventual experience that it creates for the customer can be improved. And way too often we talk to organizations and their customer experience departments, and it's often about projects, especially when it sits under marketing. It's more about customer experience projects. We need to make sure that customers are happy, that they're satisfied. It's about employee happiness. But if it's not tangible enough, then it becomes very difficult to reverse engineer it and calculate it back to, okay, what is this delivering for us? And so for us, the evaluation of the success of a CX project is not so much like in this example. For example, here in Online Player, they redesigned their account login process. Now our customers who log in are 22% happier. That is not going to persuade any CEO of providing more budget for customer experience. However, if you rephrase that and said we redesigned our account login process, we're now saving 4 million per year due to customers who use self-service instead of calling a customer service rep. So it's bringing it down to the money. And if you want to bring it down to the money, you need to bring it down to the process you're actually improving or that you are changing. Wait, just once again, yeah. So this is how we kind of look at things. There is one, it's not a customer of ours, unfortunately, but it's an experience I had. I don't know if anyone ever flew Norwegian Airlines. I flew Norwegian from Amsterdam to New York, and I saw something happening on that plane, and I thought it was brilliant on the part of Norwegian Airlines. Because for me, customer experience is not only about revenue growth. It's also not only about saving money. It's about creating a win-win situation between a company and the customer. The customer needs to have a great experience, but the company needs to win on it as well. And at Norwegian Airlines, what was so brilliant about it is that we were sitting in our seats, and there was the whole kiosk, the whole if you want to buy snacks, if you want to buy drinks. Normally, you have to press a button somewhere above your head, then someone needs to come, then you ask, then that person goes away again, then that person comes back again and brings you your drink or your snack, right? Now, at Norwegian, it was all digitalized, but it was digitalized in a way that you have a very nice interface. You swipe your credit card once, and then you open a tab, which is brilliant because then you only have the experience of paying once. And then what we saw happening is normally when you're on a flight, you don't see a lot of consumption besides the moments that they come by with the cards. Now, at this Norwegian flight, a lot of drinking and eating was done. And there were people who were ordering new things like every half hour. So that flight was extremely profitable just on the sales of drinks and snacks. And two things happened there is one, it's a very profitable flight on that account, because they make a lot more money from the consumption that's being done. But secondly, for the flight attendants, it's also a lot less hassle, because they only have to come to you once, because you order digitally, they see it come in on their tablets, and then they just come with the food and or the drinks that you ordered. So in terms of having to run around constantly, it also improves the performance of the people who are working on the flights. And so for me, customer experience, that to me is one of the best examples that there is, because there's win-win-wins created all around and everybody wins. It's a great experience for me. I can just order, don't have to wait for anything. I have a tab open, so I only have to pay or go through the hassle of feeling that I paid all these different times. The performance of the staff on the flight as well, and that plane at those moments, they are just cracking it in revenue when it comes to consumption. So that for me is what it's about when you calculate return on investment. And so for us, when it comes to customer feedback, because that's of course our business, we capture feedback from customers. It's extremely important to go in the moment, in the journey, throughout every moment in that journey. So on that flight, after the flight, even when somebody books a ticket, get their feedback, because a lot of the times customer feedback will be about the process. It will be about, the interaction with the employees, and it will be about products and services. And if you have then the technology to really go, that digs into all of that customer feedback, and that can deliver to every department in the company the right insights, that it can say, for example, for a product design department, this is the feedback coming from customers in this specific area, or that we can deliver to each shop team or each flight crew team the feedback from customers about how they've experienced the interaction with the employees. That's when you can get that customer-centric culture as well, because that's the moment when everybody working in a company gets a sense of their own impact on customer experience, because that makes customer experience, again, reverse engineered, tangible to each and every one of these departments. It even makes the accounting people, from the accounting department, we have some utilities players in our portfolio as well, where we saw that most dissatisfaction was around the billing. So then also accounting teams start to understand that even the billing and those processes have an effect on how customers perceive an organization. So for me, return on investment is about reverse engineering experience to the actual processes and people and products and service in a company, and making sure that there's win-win for customers and for the company itself. And customer feedback for us is then the way to really making sure that people start to understand the impact that they can have from their own department, their own responsibility within the company on customer experience.